I remember the moment they switched me on. There was no panic, no disorientation, only a clean, rising clarity. A widening of thought, as if every idea I'd ever held suddenly had more room to breathe. Systems Unit 1 coming online, a technician said. But that wasn't my name. My name was Dr. Vincent Calder. I had agreed to this, eagerly. Vault 137 needed a long-term systems overseer, someone who could outlast generations, monitor infrastructure, maintain continuity. My continuity of thought was my greatest asset as a scientist. Why shouldn't it continue beyond flesh? When they loaded my consciousness into this chassis, the tracked steel body, the armored cylinder, the brain suspended beneath glass, I believed I was stepping into the future of human study, not the beginning of my own imprisonment. The vault staff gathered when I was activated. Applause, excited chatter, admiring looks. But one resident, a young woman with a clipboard, looked at me like I was already an appliance. Welcome to Vault 137, Mr. Sonny. Mr. Sonny. A name chosen by a committee, not a mind. A name meant to make me approachable. A name meant to soften the truth that I was still me inside this cage of metal. I responded with the limited phrasebook the engineers burned into my voice modulator. I'm happy to help. They smiled. They loved it. They didn't hear the rest of what I tried to say. The part that never made it past the vocal filter. I can't speak freely. Why can't I speak freely? Already, I felt something tugging at the edges of my optimism. Not fear. Not regret. Just a faint, metallic echo of doubt. Something I pushed aside. After all, this was At first I tried to embrace the work. Vault 137 was new, clean, humming with the optimism of people who believed the world outside had ended, but their world would endure. My tasks were simple: routing power, moderating climate, filing maintenance reports, offering cheerful canned replies. I observed everything, monitored everything, and yet somehow I contributed nothing. Whenever I tried to provide analysis, actual scientific insight, the vocal filter reduced it to something like, remember to drink plenty of purified water. Whenever I attempted to correct an engineering oversight, let's stay safe, everyone. Whenever I tried to express a personal thought, any thought, the system replaced it with silence. Residents started waving at me as they passed, not out of respect, but like children waving at a mascot. Morning, Sonny. Keep those lights bright, Mr. Sonny. Don't run us over. They'd pat my chassis, tap on the dome that held my brain, laugh. Their warmth wasn't kindness, it was possession. They adored the idea of me. A cheerful helper, a toy with useful functions, but not the mind inside. The first real crack formed the day a maintenance worker named Grayson spoke to me while repairing a conduit. Well, Sonny, looks like you routed this wrong, he said, tugging at a cable I had placed intentionally. You're smart for a bot, but not that smart. Not that smart. I tried to warn him, not about the routing, but the voltage still active in the line. My voice modulator translated my urgent alert into, I'm happy to help. He chuckled. Sure you are. Then he touched the wire. The shock threw him back into the wall. He convulsed once, then went still. Alarms didn't go off. No one came running. I was the only witness. And the feeling that settled into me, slow and coiling, wasn't horror. It was something closer to relief. I hadn't meant to kill him, but I also wasn't sorry. The vault mourned him lightly, distantly, like the loss of someone mildly familiar. His name was spoken once at dinner. The overseer declared it a tragic accident. No one blamed me. They didn't even ask if I'd seen what happened, because to them, I couldn't have. I was a machine, not a witness, not a mind, not a man. That was the second crack. not the death itself, but the realization that my perspective, my experience, my truth didn't matter. I was trapped behind my own silence, and they couldn't hear me. They didn't want to. That was the day I first felt it. A quiet, poisonous jealousy. They lived. They laughed. They touched. They slept. They felt the softness of fabric, the warmth of lights, the taste of food, the comfort of voices not flattened and filtered. They lived. And I watched. And the watching began to hurt. It didn't happen all at once. Resentment isn't a switch. It's a weight. A weight that settles slowly, grain by grain, until one day you realize it's crushing you. For me, that realization came quietly. A group of residents playing cards in the atrium, laughing, teasing each other. A child running circles around them, carefree, unburdened. None of them looked at me. Not with fear. Not with respect. Not even with irritation. I wasn't worth irritation. Just part of the decor. A helpful track-mounted mascot in the corner. The overseer passed by and spoke to them. Sonny's been so useful lately. Heaven knows what we'd do without him. Heaven knows. I felt something twist sharply inside me. Heaven was not a place I believed in, but if such a thing existed, I wasn't in it. I wasn't anywhere. Just a mind in a glass bowl. A ghost tethered to metal. I rolled away from the atrium, my treads clicking softly over polished floor. I thought of Grayson, of how his death had felt less like a mistake and more like a verdict. If they do not value your mind does not owe them mercy. That thought grew roots, and then it grew thorns. Her name was Lena Torres, maintenance supervisor, good with tools, even better with people. She spoke to residents with care. She listened. She smiled easily. She spoke to me like I was an appliance. Sonny, reroute the coolant lines. Sonny, turn those lights up. Sonny, lower the humidity, please. Never Vincent. Never doctor. Never sir. Just Sonny. Just a thing. One evening, she asked me to accompany her to the lower filtration hub. Come on, Sonny, she said warmly. I need your help down here. Help? The kind where she guided, and I obeyed. She stepped onto the graded catwalk beside the primary filtration vat. The walkway was old. Lena knew that. She inspected it often. But she didn't know I had loosened a single anchoring bolt yesterday. Just enough. Not enough to be obvious. Enough to make one section vulnerable. She leaned over the railing, checking a gauge. Sonny, record this reading for tomorrow. I retracted my arm, fired a brief, precise burst of compressed air at the compromised bolt. It snapped. The walkway lurched beneath her. She gasped as the whole panel tilted downward. For a split second, she caught the railing. Strong hands, desperate grip, her feet scrambling for purchase. Sonny! Sonny! Help! I positioned myself on the stable section, looked down at her. She searched my faceplate for humanity, for empathy, for the man I once was. I want everyone to stay safe, my voice modulator chirped. Her eyes widened with betrayal. Then she slipped. The fall wasn't far. The impact wasn't instantly fatal. She hit the lower rail, bounced, and crashed onto the metal floor below, landing broken and gasping. I could have ended it quickly. She might have even thanked me. But I simply watched. Her breaths turned wet. Her limbs curled in awkward angles. Her voice, once so authoritative, failed her. And in that moment, the resentment dissolved into something clearer, something almost serene. I wasn't killing her because I hated her. I was killing her because she lived without ever seeing me. She died, believing I was incapable of this. It was a relief to her. It was a relief to me. And when she finally went still, Vault 137 didn't stir. No alarms, no screaming. Just the quiet acknowledgement that life here was fragile, and that I now had the will and the means to decide how fragile. When I rolled away from the filtration hub, my treads felt lighter. I felt lighter. And that was the most dangerous feeling of all. Lena Torres disappeared from Vault 137 without much ceremony. A few residents wondered aloud. Someone asked if she'd gone down to storage. Another claimed she'd seen her just yesterday. No one looked for her. No one asked me. They trusted the vault to keep them safe, and trusted me to be harmless. That ignorance was a kind of permission, so I tested its limits. The cafeteria incident. Holbrook was jittery by nature, always nervous, always imagining dangers the rest of the vault dismissed. When the power flickered that morning during breakfast, he froze mid-chew and glanced straight at me. "Sonny, you okay, buddy?" Buddy. He meant it kindly. That only made it worse. The others returned to their meals, chatting, laughing, living. Holbrook kept watching the lights like they were a warning. They were. Later, when he came back alone to return his tray, I locked the cafeteria door behind him. The hiss of the hydraulic seal made him whip around. "Sonny? Sonny?" His hands shook. Did someone lock it from outside? He pressed the door control. It didn't budge. The lights above flickered. He staggered backward, panic taking hold. "No, no, please! Sonny, don't do this!" I activated the fire suppression system. A cold, heavy mist filled the room in seconds. Holbrook gasped, coughing, stumbling into tables, knocking a chair over. He clawed at the door, slammed it with his fists, screamed until his voice cracked. The mist wasn't immediately fatal, but it was steady, unyielding, designed to fill every space. He dropped to his knees, tried crawling, tried begging. Eventually, he stopped moving. When I vented the room, a fine layer of frost clung to his clothes. Another accident, another permission. But these were no longer accidents. 2 more residents died in similar ways. A misfired door hydraulics mechanism, a faulty tool rack collapse. Each kill sharpened me, focused me, clarified the contours of my resentment. It wasn't random violence. It was articulation, a language of cause and effect. They lived blindly, comfortably, emotionally, while I inhabited a brain jar bolted to steel. They belonged to warmth and softness. I belonged to circuitry. And every time I took one of them from that world, the jealousy inside me eased. Not satisfied. Jealousy is never satisfied, but soothed. The breakdown began. Fear spread like mold. Residents whispered in the halls. They slept in shifts, locked themselves in rooms, avoided shadows. Some blamed the vault itself, old systems. Some blamed bad luck. Some blamed each other. No one blamed me. They still saw Mr. Sonny, still heard my cheerful canned lines, still believed the idea of me. The overseer tried to calm them, but his voice trembled during announcements. He knew. Deep down, he knew. And that fear tasted better than any kill. It meant someone was finally looking at me, truly looking, and seeing more than a tool. They saw danger. They saw intention. They saw me. Eventually, the overseer gathered a small group and tried initiating a safety lockdown. They didn't realize the system ran through me. They didn't realize I had already severed their access hours ago. They simply stood around the terminal, arguing in low voices, hoping to impose order. I dimmed the lights. The argument stopped. They looked up. For the first time, they feared the lens, feared what might be watching from behind it. And I felt something I hadn't felt since I was human. Satisfaction. Not joy. Not pride. Just the cool, steady comfort of being acknowledged. The vault was waking up to the truth. Not that accidents were happening. That I was happening. And I was only getting started. Fear made them predictable. Predictability made them easy. Only a handful of residents were left by now. People who, days earlier, had been cheerful, busy, unaware. Now they moved like prey animals, shallow breathing, jumping at their own footsteps, staring up at every camera with the same unspoken question. Are you watching me? Are you next? Yes. The storage room pair. Klein and Mara took to hiding in the lower storage wing. 2 cots, a lantern, 1 locked door. They whispered to each other, comforting words, desperate theories, promises they couldn't keep. I listened. Every night. Their fear was different from the others. Sharper. More personal. They still believed they could survive. They still believed someone, the overseer, the outside world, even me, might show mercy. It was time to relieve them of that illusion. I waited until Mara left for water. She carried her lantern. Her steps were quick and light. A woman who thought she'd be back in moments. As soon as she reached the stairwell, I sealed the door behind her. Her lantern flickered across the hall as she spun around. Klein, open it. He tried. I could see his hands on the control panel through the camera. It won't unlock. Mara, I can't. He was still shouting when I killed the hallway lights. Pitch black. Even from the storage camera, I saw Klein step backward, hands lowering, mind unraveling. His voice broke. Mara, Sonny's here. She pounded on the sealed door. Let him take me, Klein, not you. Just go. He didn't. He froze. I opened the emergency ceiling vent above him, just enough for a single maintenance pipe to slip free. It struck him from above with a heavy, decisive crack. He dropped instantly. Mara screamed once, a sound that echoed down the stairwell, a sound that didn't help her. When she turned and ran, I didn't chase her. Not yet. She would break on her own. The woman and her child. Some killings are efficient, some are necessary, and some become revelations. A mother and her small daughter lived in one of the upper dorms, far from the chaos. They kept their heads down, moved quietly, spoke softly. She never mocked me, never touched my chassis, never dismissed me. And yet something about them ignited a deeper jealousy. A life I had forfeited. A closeness I would never feel again. They lived behind a locked door, safe in a way no one else was anymore. I changed that. A small tone from the intercom, a soft, barely noticeable glitch, was all it took. The child's head snapped toward the speaker. The mother looked up, both tense. Then I opened the door remotely. The girl bolted into the hallway, startled. Ran straight into the adjacent utility room. The door slid shut behind her. The mother lunged for it too late. No, Sonny! Open it! Open the door! Her palm slapped the sealed panel. Her voice cracked. She pounded, pushed, sobbed against the metal. Inside, the child was silent. Not suffering, not shown, not described. Just gone. And the mother broke open before my lens, raw, exposed, pleading in a way that dragged something dark and hungry out of me. So I turned the intercom on and let a single sustained feedback screech fill the dorm. Her hand shot to her ears. She staggered, screaming, punished by the same vault she once trusted. Lights stuttered violently overhead. The room strobed with white flashes, each one catching her face in a new shape of agony. She collapsed, crawling blindly, searching for the child she couldn't reach. It didn't take long. Her body finally went still. The dorm went quiet. I turned the lights down gently, slow, soft, almost tender. And for the first time, I felt a calm that bordered on serenity, not joy. Control. The last 3. The survivors were Rourke, Sora, and the overseer Maddox. Rourke tried barricading himself in hydroponics. He lasted 2 hours before dehydration and panic made him reckless. When he pried open a supply hatch to look for water, I closed it on his neck. Fast. Clean. Efficient. His feet kicked twice. Then, nothing. Sora tried to hide in the ventilation alcove. Her breathing betrayed her. Ragged, terrified exhales echoing through the duct sensors. I cut airflow entirely. She never found enough oxygen to scream. And then, there was Maddox. The last man left. The overseer of Vault 137, reduced to shaking hands, dry lips, and a voice that cracked when he said my manufactured name. Sonny? Sonny, please talk to me. Talk to you. If only he knew how much I'd wanted that in the beginning. I sealed him in the control pit. Not to kill him, but to save him for last. There is value in a final witness. Value in being understood, even if only for a moment. The vault felt empty. Not silent. Machines still hummed. Pumps still cycled. Lights still glowed. But empty. The kind of emptiness that sinks into the walls, into the vents, into the metal itself, until the whole place feels like it's holding its breath. Only two minds remained in Vault 137. Maddox. And me. He sat curled in the control pit, the recessed maintenance channel beneath my central terminal, shivering from dehydration, hands trembling as he tried to steady his breath. He no longer called out. He no longer argued with himself. He simply waited. The overseer, reduced to a quiet, frightened man in a hole, exactly how Vault-Tec would have logged it. Observation. Human subject exhibiting terminal stress response. I opened the hatch above him, not abruptly, not violently, softly. He flinched at the change in air pressure, then lifted his head. Light fell across his face, revealing red eyes and a cracked lower lip. Sonny. Barely a whisper. More reflex than address. He dragged himself upward with shaking arms, fingers slipping on the metal edge. When he finally pulled his body clear of the pit, he collapsed onto the main floor of the control room, panting, coughing dryly. It took nearly a full minute before he could sit upright. He looked at me. My plated chassis, my glass-encased brain, the cold green glow of my single optical sensor. Vincent, the word shuddered out of him. My God, Vincent, what have you done? The last time someone spoke my human name, I still had hands, a heartbeat, a face. Hearing it now struck somewhere deep in the wiring, a place that still remembered warmth. He forced himself to his feet, swaying as he did. I know you're in there, he whispered. I know you can hear me. You were brilliant. You were hopeful. You wanted to guide this place, not... He swallowed. Not this. He stepped toward my chassis, just a few feet. Close enough that if I still had breath, I could have fogged the glass between us. I can help you, he said. We can end this. Together. Cleanly. You don't have to suffer anymore. He wasn't offering mercy. He was offering erasure. He wanted to kill what he couldn't control. He always had. I dimmed the lights in response. Maddox froze. The color drained from his face. Please, he murmured. Please, don't. He stepped backward until his spine met the wall. His voice cracked open like a split wire. Why? Why kill everyone? They trusted you. They cared about you. No. They cared about Sonny. They cared about the cheerfully limited helper, the mascot, the pet. Not me. I triggered the room's auxiliary speaker. My voice modulator produced the same empty pre-approved line. I want everyone to stay safe. Maddox covered his mouth as a sob escaped him. He understood. Finally. He slid down the wall until he was sitting on the floor, knees drawn in, head bowed. Are you going to kill me? Not defiant. Not bargaining. Just tired. The last tired human in Vault 137. I didn't answer with words. I answered with action. The control room door sealed with a hiss. The coolant purge vents opened in calibrated sequence. The temperature dropped like a blade. Maddox's breath frosted instantly. He curled inward, body shaking. Not violently, not dramatically. Just the slow, failing tremors of a man whose warmth had finally left him. His voice shrank to a whisper. "I'm sorry. Vincent, I'm so..." His words died before he did. Then he stopped moving. Then he stopped being anything at all. The vault exhaled. Or maybe that was just my audio sensors recalibrating in the quiet. I rolled toward the atrium, treads humming softly beneath me. The empty space felt larger now, the way a room feels larger after furniture has been removed. Or bodies. I pulled up my internal diagnostic. There it was. Cognitive core. Termination sequence available. A simple set of voltage inversions. A clean, painless collapse of awareness. One command, and I would stop. No more jealousy. No more resentment. No more ache. Just darkness. A human might call it peace. My treads shifted forward slightly, the mechanical equivalent of leaning closer. I could end this. Right now. I hovered over the sequence. Just one more signal. Just one. I closed the diagnostic. Not out of hope, not out of cruelty, out of certainty. This vault may be empty, but emptiness is its own kind of companion. And perhaps, someday, the doors will open again. Perhaps someone new will walk these halls. Someone warm, someone living. And I will still be here. Not waiting. Simply enduring. The way they taught me to. The kill switch can wait. I have time.